Yugioh Banlist season is here.
The banned cards. Starting things off, we've got Albion the Sanctifier Dragon. Shouldn't be a surprise, almost everyone has had this card on their list for banned. This card just constitutes a lot of degeneracy, whether it be Gimmick Puppet, Jowgen, Ra's Disciple, or any other degenerate floodgate that says you can't play on your turn. This card is the catalyst for all of them. I think everyone would agree largely that this card deserves to be banned. The next banned card we have is Calamities. Shouldn't be a surprise, Calamities is a card that, again, is much like Sanctifier with the Floodgate monsters. You don't get to play. Let's just get rid of that stuff. Let's make the game more interactive and whatnot. And third and final, I have Beatrice. So Beatrice is one that probably people aren't expecting, but there's a reason I have for Beatrice being banned is it facilitates a lot of degeneracy with locks in the game. Transaction Rollback itself is a very fair card, but it's what you can do when you include Beatrice that makes the card unfair, like with the Mayakashi spell, being able to lock your opponent out of the game, and then even going back to Tearlament's format, being able to use Beatrice to send any of them to the graveyard and mill 5 on request. Just creates a lot of degeneracy in the game, and I think it's time that Beatrice probably goes. This card's design is very similar to Curious, Lightsworn Dominion, and with cards like IP, you could use Curious on either player's turn to send any card you want from your deck to the graveyard, and then mill 3. Beatrice is very similar, and in fact it's even easier to make now with Bestial, so why not just, before this card becomes a greater problem, let's just ban it. And that's all I've got for the bans. Just 3, so not a lot of changes there. But let's go to limited section. So start off with the fire decks, everyone's favorite cards to limit. I've actually got 3 limits for that deck. I've got Snake Eyes Ash, Flamebird Dragon, and Kieran. Without actually destroying the deck, I wanted to make it so that the deck's ceiling and consistency can come down. With one Snake Eye Ash, you can't get follow-up. It makes it a little bit harder to play. Your Jet Synchron combo is now very, very difficult to play because you have to start with Bonfire, so you might get hit by Droll. So it makes the combos more... how to say this? It makes the combos more susceptible to hand traps and points of interaction. A lot of combo lines you might see from Snake Eyes players, at least with the pure builds, is they use 2 copies of Flamebird Dragon in their deck lines, or in their combo lines. Now they only have 1, so they can't do that. They have to include the new card from like Legacy of Destruction. And then I think Kieran is a good candidate to get limited, based off the theory that Kieran is the real card that actually makes Fire Kings good. And it's the card that's probably the most frustrating to play against. Everything else is just so-so. Kieran has problem with future card design written all over it. I think it's a good card to get limited to 1 to bring that ceiling down. That's really it for the Fire King hit, and then I've got some cool other ones to bring. So we'll start with the most notable is I have the Floodgates. I think all 3 of these cards are problematic on their own, and when you're playing multiple copies or max copies of 3 of each of them, they become real game deterrences. Summon Limit is not a fun card to play against. Anti-Spell, we're at a point in the game where you need to have spell access. And Skill Drain, no one likes to be hit by a Skill Drain. So I think limiting these cards to 1, and it also falls in suit with the Gozen, Rivalry, and Tikaboo hits. So why not just put these Floodgates at 1? I think it just makes a lot of sense. Now, the other part of the game I have is Crossout. We look at both Master Duel and the OCG, Crossout is hit in some way. It would make sense that the TCG would follow suit and have a restriction to Crossout. Now, it could just go to semi-limit, but I would prefer to see this card as a limited option. Either way, seems like it would be fine. But, you know, we can't take a lot away from the game without bringing some stuff back, so let's talk about what we should get back. I've got Red Reboot on my list to be a candidate to come back. Now, it might be a little strange to say Red Reboot here, but I think this card, what it does is it helps you prevent the game's degeneracy, right? That's really where this card shines. It makes the really degenerate trap decks become less viable, but at 1 copy, not 3, it shouldn't be that impactful. And think about this, it is legal in both the OCG and Master Duel, so why not bring it back to the TCG? It feels like it would make sense. I'm also thinking about Kaiser Coliseum because of the new 10-pay dragon. I don't really want to see this card come back in the game, but I think if we do have more Floodgates Limited, we can possibly bring this one back. It would be a card that really just benefits 10-pay dragon, and that's about it. But it's a selling point, so why not? And again, additionally, Heavy Storm. This card has now become legal in the OCG, so why not make it legal in the TCG? We already have Harpy's Feather Duster, we have Lightning Storms, Cosmics, Twin Twisters, mass amounts of back row removal. Why not give Heavy Storm its chance to come back? Then we have one that most people probably don't want to see back, but I think it would make a lot of sense to have this card come back because of all the Magispector support that's being printed. So Magispector Kieran, while it is a very, very powerful card that can't be targeted, it's a quick effect, a spell speed 4 by bouncing itself back. It is a very, very powerful card, but it just feels like it makes sense to come back because, again, printing Magispector support in recent sets, give them back the best monster that they have. Don't think this will make a big impact if it is even at 1, but let's have it back. And then Tidal. Again, all the other Dragon Rulers are back. Why not bring Tidal back? I don't think it's going to do anything at 1. It's past its prime. It's past its power level. It's a 2013 design card, and over a decade later, it just has low impact in the format. Okay, next. We'll go semi-limits. For me, I think Prosperity is probably a card that it makes sense to be semi-limited now. Rarity Collection 1 sales have already happened, so it doesn't really have a reason to be left alone because they're not trying to promote sales with it anymore. Part collections come out. It makes sense to hit this card. It's a very powerful card that it boosts almost any deck's consistency. It feels like this card is, again, a contender to get hit. It seems to always come in and out of discussions. I know it's not getting into the discussion right now because it's not being used, but again, it feels like it's something that should get hit. Change of Heart has done almost nothing at 1 copy, so I feel like this is a natural progression with cards. You put them at limited, they do nothing, semi-limit, and then eventually go to 3. I could also say it goes straight to 3 because that's what they did with Mind Control, but for now, let's just put Change of Heart at 1 and see what happens. Back to 2 and see what happens. Next, again, same thing. Harp Horror. Absolutely not a sighting of it for like 2024 at all. Bring it back to 2 and bring it back to 3. It won't mean anything. Same thing with Ib. It just had a semi-limit in the OCG. Again, natural progression. Nothing at limited. Bring it back to 3. Oh, sorry, bring it back to 2, then bring it back to 3. Probably see nothing there. Some off-the-wall hits I have are Shavara. Man, this is the saddest one. It got an OTS super rare printing, and then they just decided to limit it, and it killed the deck. You haven't seen Unchained anywhere. Like, this is the single worst hit. I think if they hit Yamada 1 and we had this at 3, it would be okay. You could play the deck, but this was the card that made Unchained playable. We need to have this card back. So please, it's more of a wish list than a prediction, but I think it's a contender to go back to 2. It had no TS super. Come on, man, give it back to 2. And then finally, I have Airlifter. So again, I don't think it's bad for Rescue Ace to get 2 of this card. I think it's more so the Snake Eyes cards that make the Fire decks good. So let's give Airlifter. Let's put Airlifter back to 2. It essentially, Rescue Ace has done nothing, and I don't think Rescue Ace is going to do much, but it would be fun to have Airlifter back to 2. And then for the cards to be unlimited, Terratop has done almost nothing since it's been up semi-limited, so natural progression, unlimited. Same with Pankratops, unlimited. Again, it's done nothing. 3 Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. This card here, to me, we are past the point in time where Sky Striker is relevant. Every single card in that deck has been power crept and must be played alongside other cards to be relevant. So give him back 3 engage. It's not going to matter. The deck is just too slow. The deck is too... the deck is not as powerful in comparison to the modern era decks that we have now. So it's done nothing at 2. Is the third one really going to matter? Probably not. And then because of the errata, Summon Sorceress. This card will be... It is not if this card will be unbanned. It is about when this card will be unbanned. So again, the errata makes this thing really bad. But yeah, so guys, that's my list. And I know it's a big list, but because this is the last list we will get in the 25th anniversary, I wanted to put in 25 changes to the list to commemorate the 25th anniversary. So let me know down in the comment section what you guys think, and let me know what you disagree with, which will probably be a lot of it. Let me know what you agree with, if any at all. I'd love to hear. I'm Retro Yugioh, signing off. Remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.